It seems every Republican woman under 40 is having a baby. Right-wing media thinks that this will inspire a national baby boom. I'll explain why they're fooling themselves. I'm Amanda Marcotte. Welcome to Standing Room Only. Everyone's heard of somebody having a baby in a doomed bid to save a marriage. But to rescue a fascist project, that's a new one. Within the space of a few weeks, we got three big MAGA pregnancy announcements. Second Lady Usha Vance, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, and Katie Miller, the Eva Braun to White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller.
Vice President J.D. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance are expecting baby number 4. It's part of the White House baby boom.
The White House reacting on X, saying the most pro-family administration in history.
This is fabulous. Like Europe's declining birth rate. All of you young people out there, keep having babies. All right, that's my message tonight.
Okay. No one can prove that these three got pregnant as part of a MAGA propaganda project. But it sure is lucky timing. MAGA is torn up by infighting. Rumors are flying about J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk. ICE is killing innocent people. And their president is slowly turning into a giant bruise. They're desperate to put a happy face on things. In a normal situation, these pregnancies wouldn't matter. But MAGA is obsessed with showing off how many kids they have.
Man, as you look at the Trump team, they are living up to the hype in terms of their pro-baby, wouldn't you say? Take a look at some of these stats about the Trump officials.
This is quite the chart.
Yeah.
This is a very impressive chart we've put together here of all the kids. Of course, leading the way, RFK Jr. with 6 kids. Brooke Rollins, 4 kids. Howard Lutnick, 4 kids.
So it's funny that Fox News got so outraged when I wrote an article at Salon calling them out for it.
And the headline with Salon, this is like an anti-right rag. Don't buy MAGA's baby boom hype. Really? There was a cold facts. They are pro-life.
And the op-ed says, underpinning all this happy talk about more babies is a hateful project aimed both at whiteifying America and destroying decades of women's progress.
Oh, my God. How miserable must you be when you find out somebody has 7 kids and you're upset about it, and then you go right to racism?
The lefty outlet Salon is so outraged by the idea of women growing their families that they're telling readers, quote, don't buy MAGA's baby boom hype.
Every time I see these clips of them going off on one of my articles and my little byline under there, I do wonder, like, is my mom watching this? Probably. She loves Laura Ingraham. I didn't say that you shouldn't have babies. I'm not mad at anybody for having babies. I basically was calling them out for using these pregnancies as propaganda. And it's true. The right is really mad that American women aren't pregnant enough. They want everyone white at least, to be spouting baby bumps.
Young women, they don't value having children. And this is one of the reasons why we are seeing a fertility collapse in the West.
Birth rates are low.
Yep.
Need to get people drunk, so they start bop, bop again.
Let's get busy.
Because we're too sober.
According to Business Insider, Musk welcomed twins with one of his top Neuralink executives in November, Kinky. He seemingly confirmed the report by tweeting, quote, doing my best to help the underpopulation crisis. A collapsing birth rate is the biggest danger civilization faces by far.
In my remarks last year, I told you all one of the things I most wanted in the United States of America was more families and more babies. So let the record show you have a vice president who practices what he preaches.
I'll be known as the fertilization president, and that's okay.
J.D. Vance, he's so smug. He's just like, that's right. I made a baby. It's my wife that's pregnant, not my couch. Here's the thing, though. Yelling at women to make more babies isn't working. For one thing, most of us can do math. I know, even though we're ladies. The world population right now is over 8 billion people. A century ago, it was fewer than 2 billion. We're in no danger of running out of people. Second, we can see that the administration is trying to deport as many people of color as possible. If they were really worried about having more people, they would be making immigration easier, not harder. Look, There's no real effort to address the actual reasons that women don't have kids. Cats. It's hard enough to get a decent date when so many men out there are ruined by MAGA red pill content. But even if you do find a guy worth having a kid with, raising children is expensive. Healthcare access is sketchy. Childcare is hard to get. Schools are being undermined. And Republicans have no plans to fix any of this. On the contrary, they're the reason things are so bad. If you want to hear more about this, stick around for Pass the Mic. I'll be talking about it with my guest, Andy Zeisler. Instead, the right seems to think that propaganda alone will inspire women to have more babies. And they embrace this carrot and stick approach. The stick part is where they try to shame you if you don't have kids.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made.
She's nothing but a sad, petty, childless adult.
Do you think that childlessness is contributing to just, it seems like, the explosion of dependence on SSRIs, especially among women, anxiety, depression, deaths of despair?
We have this low birth rate in America, and it all made sense to me. It just hit me right now, because who's going to sleep with these ugly ass, broke, crazy, deranged, TDS liberal women?
Kid Rock, like, alone is birth control. It's just his face. The carrot part is even weirder. You can tell that they've heard women's complaints about work-life balance and childcare, but instead of backing policies that would make life easier for moms, MAGA media is gaslighting us. They claim that it's a lot easier to have a baby than the feminists are saying, and that you don't need help, you just need more moxie.
Strong, powerful women can exist and also have a family and have a husband. It can be done.
Right.
It just takes a little bit more effort, and that's okay.
And for my daughter, I mean, what a better example for a girl than having a mom who's out there hustling. I hope she takes that away.
I'm so glad you said that, because it took me way too long to realize that.
Being a mother has made my career richer, fuller, better. It's made life richer, fuller, better.
For decades now, the feminist movement has been telling women that children are somehow a burden to your personal career advancement. And as it turns out, that lie is a lie. Mom, to me, you're one of the greatest examples of this.
I was flying on an airplane at 40 weeks pregnant to be here in Phoenix at Charlie Kirk's memorial service. My advice to women listening to this: when you are pregnant, it's not as if you are disabled, okay? Exercise.
What do you say to a woman who's scared that she's going to lose herself if she becomes a mom?
I have found myself by becoming a mom. Like, I don't even feel like I remember myself before her being here. And that sounds so stupid because I know she's only 11 weeks old.
They can try to put a happy face on this, but it's still a form of shaming. It's saying that if you struggle, it's your fault for not trying hard enough. Never mind that all these MAGA women are rich and can afford nannies. But when I researched this story, I did start to wonder, who is this propaganda for? When I looked at the social media response to these pregnancy announcements, well, it's not what MAGA leaders wanted. Usha's pregnancy was mostly met with jokes about how she's trying to steal her husband back from Erica Kirk. The Millers were greeted with speculation that Elon Musk is the baby's real father. Karoline's announcement was met with a bunch of jokes about how pregnant women aren't supposed to use fillers, and people also made fun of the fact that her husband is 32 years older than she is. I did like the person who's like, she's closer in age to the fetus than her husband. Okay, a lot of these people are snarky progressives like me, but the MAGA response was not a whole lot better. There were some generic congrats from boomers with Jesus pics in their bios. And then you even got some conservative women getting a little mad at being told that raising kids is so easy. But the only MAGA types that I saw really get passionate about this were the wannabe ICE guys. And they weren't happy, they were mad that Usha was having another non-white baby. The Breitbart comment section was just like a total shit show. You don't really see Republicans getting that excited about all these famous MAGA women getting pregnant. They really don't care. And I think it goes back to this work-life balance thing. They don't want to hear Karoline Leavitt talking about being a working mom. That sounds suspiciously feminist. The whole anti-abortion thing started because conservatives were mad that women were working. And as long as these women keep working, the MAGA base doesn't care how many kids they have. It was never really about more babies for them. It was about getting women back into the kitchen. I'd like to welcome Andy Zeisler to Standing Room Only. She works for Salon. She is one of our culture writers, and she's also written about MAGA's baby boom, specifically Karoline Leavitt's pregnancy. Welcome to Standing Room Only, Andy.
Thanks for having me.
So, Karoline Leavitt, you wrote about her pregnancy announcement, which she made around Christmas before these other big pregnancy announcements. So I just want to ask you to talk about your article and what you argued in there.
Well, I think that the White House has definitely been on this pronatalism kick. I don't know if you remember, there were like 3 articles in a row in the New York Times, like last April, that were like, J.D. Vance wants to persuade women to have more kids. And it was just like a very transparent push. And, you know, I think Karoline Leavitt, it worked for her on 2 levels. She was already sort of dealing with the fallout from the Vanity Fair article with her filler lips. And her pregnancy could serve as a little bit of a cover for the fact that Donald Trump has not done any of the sort of like family stuff that he promised to do.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't have any family leave or health care or child care or any kind of support really for women. But they have this visual image of a pregnant woman as the face piece, the mouthpiece of the White House. And you know how visual this particular White House is.
I mean, I think that's a really big part of it, is that she fits the optics to a T. She's white, she's young, she wears a cross. She hasn't gone full Mar-a-Lago face, but you could kind of see how she might get there. She's a good smokescreen for them in a lot of ways. And I think that the whole pronatalist push in the White House, particularly led by J.D. Vance, has been very transparently not going over well. It's like they can't say what they really want, because what they really want is indefensible. They want white babies, nothing but white babies, and they want control of women, and they want sort of a breeding program. And they want what Sam Alito called a domestic supply of infants, if you remember that.
Yes.
Which is still the creepiest thing. Like, none of them can talk about this without sounding like total ghouls. So they have to really couch it in, you know, very sort of pro-family language.
Yeah, the domestic supply of infants, there is such a transactional, people don't even, I foster cats, and people don't even talk about cats like that. They're more humane towards cats. But you mentioned Karoline Leavitt moving towards Mar-a-Lago face and how the pregnancy kind of operated, or if she hoped it was going to be a distraction from the fact that she gets tremendous lip fillers all the time, it actually backfired, because a lot of people, including in your article, discussed how you're not really supposed to use lip fillers while you're pregnant. And yeah. I have a clip for you.
How's Karoline doing? Is she doing good? That face and those Katie and those lips, they move like a machine gun, right?
So she can't stop getting fillers. Yeah. I mean, her boss demands it. So I don't know if it is dangerous for pregnant women. Like she said, it hasn't super been tested, but you are immunocompromised when you're pregnant.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's not as though there's evidence that it is toxic or there are, you know, birth defects that result from it. It's more like there's no way to know. So out of an abundance of caution, don't do it. But, you know, as he said, these are not people who care about, you know, following scientific guidelines. These are not people who are hewing to best practices. And, you know, I think most of all, these are people to whom the rules don't apply. And they're constantly reassured of that.
It's so telling what medical interventions they think are okay for pregnant women or young mothers to have, right? If it helps you, if it makes your life easier, like Tylenol, you cannot have it. If it makes your children healthier, like vaccines, and also happens to make your life easier because you aren't dealing with kids with the measles and everything, you can't have it. But lip filler, which makes your boss happy because he thinks it's sexy, well, just fire away, even though we don't know if it's good for you or your baby.
Well, I mean, that's very on brand. I mean, their whole pronatalist push is, they were trying to like figure out ways to persuade women to have more babies. And, first of all, Dobbs did not do that any favors, because there are a lot of women who would like to be having babies who are miscarrying or having other complications and unable to get the treatment they need to have a healthy, to carry a pregnancy to term. So there's that. The things that they are trying to use to get women more interested in having babies, like there's nothing about parental leave. There's nothing about affordable housing. There's nothing about fixing environmental pollution that makes water toxic. It's literally like, oh, do you know about your menstrual cycle? Do you know how that works? Which is, it says it all, because they don't know. They don't know about any of this stuff. So of course they don't think that filler is a problem. I mean, my favorite thing, of course, is that they, do you know Simone and Malcolm Collins? They're like these techie.
I wish I didn't.
Right, I know. Every time I see her, I'm like, are you an Amish milkmaid? What's going on? So she did an interview recently where she was talking about how she had proposed that Donald Trump and the administration offer a Medal of Motherhood to women who have 6 or more children. And like that comes straight from the Nazis. That comes straight from Stalinist Russia. Again, it's not as though these people have any informed information or opinion about what would make women want to have more babies.
On that point, the next clip I want to show you is, so Kate O'Dell at the Wall Street Journal literally wrote this article saying that Usha Vance's pregnancy was going to inspire more women to get pregnant. And then she had the nerve, and thank God for us, to actually put her face on camera and make this argument again. So I want you to watch it.
Usha Vance announced last week that she's expecting a 4th child. I think this is something that deserves more celebration broadly. It's an example of an accomplished, poised woman in public life who has decided, even though she's very busy with her 3 children and the scrutiny of being married to the vice president, that another child is an adventure worth having. And I think there's power in that example. There's a lot of discussion today around declining U.S. birth rates. There are a multitude of reasons for lower fertility rates, but most of the conversation focuses around, can we pay people to have more children, even though there's not much evidence that that works. I do think, though, that individual choices and the power of example do matter to changing culture. I think there are many American families who might look at a woman like Usha Vance and think, wow, if she can manage a 4th child amid everything else she has going on, maybe I could too. You should read my full piece today in Free Expression.
Go to WSJ.com, find the Free Expression tab, and sign up for the newsletter today.
So there's not a lot of evidence that paying women to have babies works, but we're going to go ahead and assert that just seeing another woman pregnant will definitely get you there.
Yeah, there was someone else who, maybe it was a Fox News anchor, who said that pregnancy is contagious. And that's definitely not true.
Marriage, childbearing, divorce, for instance, are all incredibly contagious. You catch them from your friends and family members, your close family members, right? And so if you're in a network of people who are getting married, you're more likely to get married. If you're in a network of people who are having kids, you're more likely to have children. You are your friends. And so if your friends are, staying single and steering clear of parenthood, your odds of doing the same thing are quite high. And by contrast, if your friends are getting married and having kids and doing a pretty good bang up job of, being decent husbands and fathers, wives and mothers, your odds of doing the same are, because we are, as you said, mimetic, and so we tend to imitate what we see.
Again, they do not know how any of this works. But I do think it's interesting that when when the press generally, the corporate media talks about like the decline, the birth rates falling, the concern about it, they really always put the onus on women. They're like, well, women are too busy with their careers. They delay childbearing. They're not interested in compromising. It's never like we do not provide an environment that would make women want to have more kids. You know what I mean? We're not doing anything that would make women be like, oh, wow, I want to bring a child into this country. Look at the school shootings, look at the environmental racism. Yeah, let me pop out some kids. Like, that's not, women are not stupid. And also, like, men are not stupid. Like, people in heterosexual marriages probably know, especially because a lot of them are parents, they know that this is a very difficult thing. And they know they're not going to get any help in any way from the US government. So, I mean, it's just really, it's so much just wish casting all the time.
Yeah, it's like if you look at Usha Vance, I think most women are going to say, well, she has a full staff and she is a very rich woman. And so, yeah, she can have 4 kids and it's easy for her because she has a nanny. It's that simple. I mean, that's not something the rest of us have.
No, that's the whole lean in fallacy. Like the idea that you give yourself to whatever it is you're doing, but never mention that that's done on the backs of other women who are helping you, probably not getting paid enough, probably not getting the credit. Yeah, I mean, we have a real optics problem with motherhood because, again, people know how difficult it is, but there is the government and the corporate media make it sound like it's just women being stubborn because they don't want to have to, stop getting filler or whatever. Like it's never about like, this is not a safe place. America is not a safe place to bring a child into this world. It's never about that.
Kind of the ridiculousness of this idea that you can inspire pregnancy, you can inspire women to have more children just by showing leadership and being a role model. My producer found an insane example of this, which is people crediting the ghost of Charlie Kirk for this alleged explosion in babies, of which there is no evidence.
There's a lot of people in the media and in women's studies departments, their heads are exploding because of this MAGA baby boom. Karoline Leavitt, Usha Vance, both pregnant. What is going on?
Well, I think they're showing that they're not really pro-choice. They're pro-abortion. And that's why you're seeing their heads explode at the audacity of our second lady to have a 4th child. And I think that's so out of touch with this generation who wants to have kids, who wants to get married. And that's why we're honored today. We're standing here in honor of my good friend Charlie Kirk, who was one of the ringleaders of this. I would say MAGA baby boom.
So I have to ask, are you outraged that Usha Vance is having a baby?
Yes. I can't think about anything else. I think all the time about how much I hate babies and don't want people to have them. This is really a lot of, I mean, you've been on the internet a minute, and you probably remember back in the 2000s, there was the whole opt-out revolution, this whole media line that was really pitting working mothers against stay-at-home mothers rather than sort of, again, address anything that was systemic. And I think the residue of that is that there's this narrative that news outlets are happy to push, actual conservative women are happy to push, that liberal women are just angry when other people have babies. That's like we're just sitting around fuming about it. I think it just says a lot about, again, how little of an argument these folks have. They really can't acknowledge reality, because then they would have to acknowledge that you really can't support a family on one income. It's not, women are not there are probably a lot of mothers who would love to not work, but they have to work.
Yeah. And so this particular interview was happening at the March for Life. And just to sort of underscore how out of touch these people are, she characterizes feminists as a bunch of angry liberals who are just pro-abortion. In reality, the majority of women who have abortions are mothers already. The statistics show that women who have abortions do so because they already have children and they know how hard it is.
Oh, exactly. But again, this is not an administration that has ever dealt with facts. And the pro-life movement has been incredibly well-funded over decades and has come up with a real litany of talking points that push forward the sort of personal dimensions of choice rather than why women might make a choice to stop at 2 children or 1 child.
So for our mic drop question, no clips this time. Just a question to you. As you noted, Karoline Leavitt was kind of trying to use this pregnancy as a little bit of reputation rehab. Usha Vance, Katie Miller, they're doing the same thing and they're using it as a brand polisher. Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem also have a brand problem right now, but unfortunately they've aged out of having a baby to fix it. So what do you think they should do instead?
Well, we definitely don't want Kristi to adopt any sort of living thing. Definitely not animal adoption. But she could donate all her hair extensions to Locks of Love. I think that would be good. She's certainly got enough to spare. Pam Bondi, super easy. She could release the Epstein files unredacted and be a hero.
She'd be a hero to us. She definitely wouldn't be a hero to... That'd be her last day at the job.
She could really do us a solid.
Can't beat that answer. That's perfect. Thank you, Andy. So hype yourself. Tell people where they can find your work.
Well, you can find my work at salon.com. Same place you can find Amanda's work. And you can find me on bluesky.com.
Thank you again for being on, Andy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find more content like this if you do. And stick around for Encore. I have a song recommendation for all you miserable cat ladies out there. Hey folks, I'm coming to you from my house in Philadelphia, and this is my home record collection. The other half of it lives at Latchkey Records. And my song recommendation of the week is inspired by a friend recently asking me while they were over here and we were listening to some David Bowie, what my favorite David Bowie song of all time is. And, you know, for almost a moment I was stymied because, you know, there's like 1,000 great David Bowie songs I could probably rattle off the top of my head. But if I'm being honest, it's probably Cat People Putting Out the Fire. It's also a fun song to talk about because there are 2 versions of it. There is the version that is on the Let's Dance album that is got Stevie Ray Vaughan on it and Nile Rodgers is the producer. And that's probably the one people have heard more because the Let's Dance album sold a bazillion copies, right? Then there is the superior version of Cat People Putting Out the Fire, which is for the Cat People soundtrack in 80s horror movie that is absolutely terrible. And it has come to some fame because that version of the song was used in Inglourious Bastards. I bought my copy of the Cat People soundtrack a long time ago in Brooklyn, and I went into this record store and I saw it and I got really excited. And I go up to the clerk and it's like only, as you can see, it was only $5 because records back then were a lot cheaper, even used ones, than they are now. And she was like, man, we keep getting copies of this and we cannot keep it on stock. Why are so many people so fascinated with this soundtrack of this old, extremely crappy horror film? And I was like, well, it has the superior version of Putting Out the Fire with Gasoline by David Bowie on it. So yeah, that is this week's recommendation, Cat People Putting Out the Fire. Check out Inglourious Bastards, and if you want to like get really stoned or have a few drinks and have a good laugh, the movie Cat People is actually kind of funny to watch. It is based on a 1930s film, by the way, that is actually good. And so I would recommend that wholeheartedly, but not the 80s version of that particular movie. If you want more Standing Room Only episodes, please click the subscribe button below. Standing Room Only started as a newsletter, and it's free to read. Click the link to subscribe. I love tips. These political battles are playing out in your communities, your towns, your neighborhoods, your schools. If you have a story, please drop me a line or leave it in comments.